Hi, everyone. This is Uma coming to you live on what day is today? Being in this lockdown, Thursday, March 19th. We're not in a lockdown in Virginia. Sorry, I said that. I'm just kind of like feeling like it's a lockdown because I've been home for so long. Hi, I'm coming back onto YouTube with some of my videos that I haven't been doing in a while, but guess what? I have a lot of time now. So I'm going to start filling this channel with some videos and hopefully they're helpful for you, given the nature of what I do. I'm going to share from that place. So, if you don't know me, my name is Uma. I'm the owner and CEO of the Lotus and the Light Metaphysical Center, Lotus Wellness Center. I'm the president of the Manassas Holistic Chamber of Commerce and an elite doTERRA wellness advocate. So, my life for the past 11 years has been about natural healing, wellness, spiritual, metaphysical, psychic, and mediumship development. Those are the things that I cover. I'm using my channel as a way to bring you information from my professional experience in working in all those roles for the past 11 years, but also from my personal experience because I am a spiritual teacher and a metaphysical advisor, mentor, if you will, in my area. And I like to give as much free information as I can because I think the more information we get out there, the better it will be for people and it will be very helpful. So today I'm going to be talking about emotional readings. And you probably have not heard that term before, and I'm not even sure if it's a real term or if it's just something that me and my partner, Rob Pritchard of the Healing Frequency, made up. But it's something that we have noticed a lot of over the years. And with this current week where I had two recent emotional readings, I was like, okay, Spirit's trying to tell me to do a video on this. So here we go. I first learned of emotional readings when I was in training to do psychic readings, tarot readings. I would tap in, as I was taught to source, receive the messages, read the cards, interpret the cards based off of what spirit was giving me. Now, that would be the simplest way to describe what a psychic tarot reading is. The psychic or the tarot reader would have to be tapped in, and then they would receive the messages based off of what the cards present. It doesn't always happen that way. Most times we have people doing emotional readings, which is they're not really reading you or your situation. They're putting their own input, their opinions, or even sometimes their own life into your reading. So it's like essentially like they're reading for themselves. I started seeing that a lot because in training, I was trained, I have to tell you, by some of the best psychics and mediums in the world. And for my psychic work, even though she's no longer with psychic work, hi cuz, that's my cuz Wahida. So even though she's not with psychic work anymore, Doreen Virtue was killer at what she did when she was in this field. So I've learned from Doreen Virtue, Radley Valentine, Kyle Gray, John Holland for psychic work. I can't remember the rest. I've learned from so many beautiful teachers. And the most important thing when you do a psychic reading is you have to be a clean and clear channel. So most times when I'm doing any sort of psychic mediumship work, I tend not to drink. I tend to watch what I eat. I tend to get a lot of rest because you can't come in with your stuff to do a reading. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing that level of care, of self-care out in the community because I'm seeing a lot of people do emotional readings. So that's the first thing I want to tell you. And I started seeing emotional readings about, where are we, 2020, about 6 years ago when I was hanging out with a lot more psychic friends than I normally do. And we would get these like little parties and we would read each other, on a full moon night or what's going on. And then I noticed that the messages started changing. It was no longer full of love and light or, just really deep, soulful, intuitive guidance. It became a little bit catty and just sometimes downright nasty. I remember Rob and I, my partner, we had, what was it, 2015, I was having a wellness fair at my center and he was on a bike rally because he rides a Harley. So he was on a bike rally with his friends in West Virginia. And we had kind of like a fight, and all couples do. And I wanted him to be at my wellness fair to come support me as my boyfriend. But he, of course, was at a bike rally in West Virginia. So I was kind of like, okay, I'm not going to see him. It is what it is. So a woman was there that I had invited to be part of my wellness fair that was doing readings. And before we got started, while we're all sitting around waiting for guests to come, I just said to her, I was like, hey, do you want to read my card? She's like, sure. She read the most craziest thing. She said that, she's like, are you guys broken up? And I was like, no, we had a fight. And she's like, no, I think this is it. I think this is the end of you and Rob. Clearly we're not. And she's like, I think this is the end of you and Rob. And, I just feel like he's moved on and you're more into it than he's into it. You're more in love with him than he's in love with you. And all this terrible stuff she told me. And this was at my wellness fair that I was hosting at my center. So put yourself in my position for a second, right? I had to now go and like plaster a smile on my face and greet guests and welcome everybody. But in the middle of me, I'm feeling so much terror and panic and anxiety. Like, oh my God, I didn't know we broke up. Like, I didn't know this was over because I'm like trusting what this person said. No. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Projection much? Exactly. So guess what happened? Spirit's always on your side when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And, my wellness fair continued on. 2 hours later, guess who walks in? Sunburnt, tanned, and looking like a hunk of a man, because he had his little cowboy hat on. His face was all red. He apparently rode as fast as he could to get back to my center for my wellness fair to show up and support his girlfriend. Right. So yeah, because I know that's just how Rob is. And I was so amazed. I was just like, oh my God. And I told him, hi, Tony. And I told him, I was like, oh my gosh, you love me. And he's like, of course I do. He's like, why would I not be here? Why would I not love you? And he's like, I wanted to come and support you. And I was so amazed at Rob. I was just so amazed at him. And the funny thing was that psychic that was there, she saw him and she glared at him and she left. And we never saw her again. She actually moved out of the area, to be honest. She moved out to hi Rhonda. She moved out to the Carolinas for a while and, whatever. So that was my first real coming into somebody doing an emotional reading. I was like, wow, none of that message was right. And you have to understand, I've been pretty sheltered because I do accurate readings, tapping into spirit, getting the messages, whatever. All my tutors and mentors do accurate readings. And then the people that I've gotten readings from so far at that point were all accurate readings. I've never had a bad or wrong psychic reading. So yeah, Rhonda, you can contact me. My website is thelotusandthelight.com. I'm going to ask one of you girls, because I have my copper balls I'm playing so I don't want to type. If somebody can just type in the comments, thelotusandthelight.com, you could totally get in contact with me. I'm doing a lot of readings now because I'm home. So I'm doing a lot of phone readings. So that was my first time getting involved with an emotional reading. But then the funny thing is, it's like once the floodgates open, then you start to see it everywhere. And I am so hard on my students. I know I have a beginner tarot workshop coming up, not this Saturday, next Saturday. And I have to tell you, because I know some of you are signed up for it, I'm going to be hard on you. And this is the reason why I'm going to be hard on you, because the minute I feel any sort of emotion coming in, I'm going to be on you real hard. Because the thing is that we have to be aware of our emotions and our feelings as a reader. I remember back in 2014, before my current boyfriend, I had a boyfriend that was just, on again, off again, one of those. And I remember he broke up with me and I was sitting in the parking lot crying. And then I had to go into my meditative state and, like, in a way, hypnotize myself to walk in and do this bomb ass reading for this client. And how do I know? Because every single thing I said came true. Every single thing. When people write me and they send correspondence back about how my readings went, I keep it because it's a reminder for me, you're on the right path, you're doing the right thing. But it took a lot of energy to pull myself back from that situation I was going through, like literally somebody I loved breaking up with me in a parking lot, and then having to walk in, head held high, and saying, all right, we're going to do this reading for you. So I don't see a lot of readers having that kind of morals and that kind of integrity in their work. It's kind of like, let's just go ahead and get this done. And I'm like, no, you're doing a spiritual work here. You're working on behalf of spirit, and you have to be clean and clear in receiving these messages. So why am I talking about this now? because this week, I don't know if it's the paranoia, the insanity, or what's going on, but I've had two people reach out to me with emotional readings. You got it. One person, and I'm not going to name them because they're actually friends in my life and people who mean well. But the thing with my life is what you have to understand is I take everything that happens to me and I use it as a teachable moment. I'm a spiritual teacher. That's what I do. And that's why I think a lot of friends get mad at me. They're like, why do you have to talk about that? Because I'm a spiritual teacher. That's what I do. Okay. So I had this one friend reach out to me and um, she was in a panic. And that's so I'm giving you tips how to know what is an emotional reading and what is not, right? So if you're writing this down, write it down. This is the first thing I know that this was not a right reading because one, she had a dream about me, and she woke up in a panic and she immediately wrote me at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, all of that, emotional reading. Okay. Because here's the thing, when spirit needs to send someone a message, there's never any rush attached to it because time and space are constructs of the mind. So that actually doesn't exist in the spiritual realm. So you're not going to find like a spirit guide coming to you saying, oh my God, we have to get this message out now. There is no time. Everything is just is, and everything happens at the right time once you start to operate on spirit time because there is no time. And that sounds all crazy, but trust me, I do channeling a lot for people. And when I channel, of course, my eyes are closed. I'm in the zone. I'm channeling, and they always know when to start and when to stop on time every single time. And I'm not keeping track of a clock. So there's no such thing as time. Okay. So when I got that message at like 5 o'clock in the morning, I was like, okay, that's kind of weird because this person usually is level headed. And then the message proceeded to tell me all sorts of nonsense. It was like, you know, Spirit said to me that you were, I can't even remember. It was something like you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and it's taking you away from the work you're supposed to be focusing on. And you're distracted in some sort of sense, blah, 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 blah. The funny thing is, the only thing I could read about this message was this poor girl because I know her personal situation. I know her love life. I know her work life. I know her social, I know her personal situation because we're friends. And the crazy thing is I know this was a message for her, but I'm not going to tell her that because she was very worked up, you know, and she was like so sure it was for me because I guess I appeared in her dreams. She never thought for a second, you know what, Uma might be a spiritual teacher for me. And she's choosing to show up in my dream in a way to help me to get these messages for myself because these are messages that she needs to hear. So when she wrote all that to me, I just told her, I was like, you know, I'm going to meditate on it. Thank you. I never wrote back to her about it because it's a wrong message. It's an emotional read. So here's another reason why I know it's an emotional read because spirit, if they have a message for me, they're going to come to me. I'm actually a working psychic, guys. What kind of psychic would I be if I don't receive messages about myself? And I've received all my messages about myself. That's why if you guys are looking at following me on Facebook and you see how I'm making the predictions, I always tend to be 2 weeks to a month ahead of what hits because spirit is advising me and they're giving me lots of information to share with you guys so that way you can know and then you can make your moves too. Okay. So when she gave me this message that completely, I never got any message like that from spirit. They never told me I was on the wrong path or anything like that. I was like, wow, this is crazy because this person I really look up to, or I did look up to, and I was just really surprised at her reaction. So I was like, wow, yeah, Tony, integrity is very rare. And I feel like I'm trying to bring back a lost art or something when it's something that's supposed to be innate in all of us, but it's not. Then the second person was a little bit more batshit crazy than my friend, the first one. The second person is not an actual personal friend of mine. She's like a Facebook friend, and she's somebody that's in the spiritual community. And you know, I've worked with her maybe twice. Yeah, twice in like the span of 3 or 4 years. I've worked with her twice, so I barely know her. Um, but I respect her because she's like a light worker and she's doing work for the community. So I respect her until recently. And I say that because we were, again, I'm posting a lot of things on Facebook. Now, if any of you are reading my stuff on Facebook and assuming that I'm talking about my personal life, you're dead wrong. Okay. I don't ever put my personal life on blast on Facebook. What I do though is I tap into the consciousness of my clients, my students. So if you see me write something that seems like traumatic, like Uma's having problems that day, no. More than likely, I was talking to a client or one of my students that are going through something and it's still heavy on my mind. And as I'm scrolling through Facebook, I see something that can speak to that situation. So I post it. Okay. Truth, honest to God, that's what I do. I am beyond the stage of posting my life on Facebook. Trust me, I used to do it in my 20s. Okay. So I don't do that anymore. So this person must have seen something I wrote on Facebook, and then she writes me. She writes me and says that, oh, you know what? I'm just going to read it to you because you got to hear the beauty in this. And here's what I did. I shot back at this one. The other one, I didn't say so much. I was just like, oh, I'll meditate on it. Thank you. But this one I shot back at because this was actually harmful. And it's crap like this that makes me mad because this is where my community, I'm very protective of you guys. And this is where my community get these mixed messages and I get pissed off. So this is what I get. Now, mind you, I just want to say something to you guys. The last time I spoke to this woman, because, you can see, the last time you spoke to this person was September 2018. So I've not heard from this woman since September 2018. Now I hear, which was on Tuesday, I sense you're giving up. Your darkness and pain are sent to you to make you less powerful. I will send healing. Don't give up. You will sense me and my twin soul within the next 24 hours. We will remove all parasites attached to you and your being, sent from those who want to see you fail. So I shot back really quickly. I'm sorry, but you are wrong. Far from it. I've been happily spending time with my loves and working to help my community. Why would you even say that? And then she said, I'm sorry if I misinterpreted the energy. Not that I misinterpreted the energy. I'm sorry if I misinterpreted the energy. Please forgive me. And I'm like, sure, thank you. Okay, goodbye. But here's the problem. Okay. How you know it's an emotional reading, going back to that for me to help with this topic. If someone reads you without your permission, they're going to get it wrong. They're absolutely going to get it wrong. And I tell you this because when you learn Akashics, if I'm an Akashic soul realignment coach, okay? So I do Akashics for a living too, in addition to all the other things I do. When you learn Akashics, we actually have a fail-safe mechanism in our Akashics that if somebody tries to read us without our permission, the Akashics is set up to skew information and give them wrong information. Did you know that? I'm pretty sure most of you don't. Okay. This is why I keep saying to people, it's so important. If you are not a psychic, a trained medium, please do not do these things. You can play at home, you can play with your cards, but do not go out there reading for people if you don't know what the hell you're doing. Stop it. Okay. And I'm being very harsh about this because this is my profession, guys. This is what I do for a living. And when I get numbnuts like this going off about stupidness like this, it makes me angry. The same way I'm sure a doctor would be angry if somebody got a home medical kit and played with it and then decided they're a doctor now. I get very angry. And yes, I'm taking it personally because this is my line of work. Tony, you're a hairdresser, a barber. I'm not sure what the right term is, a stylist, right? You would hate it if somebody like me who has never cut hair professionally in her life decides to hang up a sign and say, I'm now a hairdresser, right? It's an attack on you and your profession when people do craziness like this. So I'm sharing this message as a PSA because I want to share some things with you. Okay, here's the first thing I'm going to share with you. If somebody comes to you with a reading and they don't have your permission, you didn't give them your permission, they're doing an emotional read right off the bat, even if they get it right, because there is such a thing as guessing and they can guess right. Okay, 50% chance I'm going to get it right, 50% chance I'm going to get it wrong. So just because somebody comes to you and say, I have a message for you, don't accept it. Don't accept it. I can't for the life of me see why my spirit guides would go to other people to give them messages for me when I'm constantly talking to them every day, each day, all day. So if somebody comes to you and says, I have a message for you, Don't accept it. Now, the only way I would make a leeway for that is where I've seen situations, including myself, where spirit does come to me, a professional reader, and give me message for someone else, someone who is not a reader. And usually those messages come when that person's in a time of need. Now, here's this funny thing too. I don't go up to people. If let's say Leanne's one of my students, right? So let's say message comes through for Leanne. I'm not going to walk up to Leanne and say, I have a message for you. You know what I do as a professional reader and her teacher and her mentor? I come in and I say, hey, how are you doing? Is everything okay? I just wanted to check on you. That is my way of introducing to people, you're on my mind. I may have a message for you, but I'm not going to just throw it at you. That's highly disrespectful. I'm going to just kind of warm up and see what's going on. And then Leanne might respond with, so funny, because that's what I usually get. It's so funny that you called me. It's so funny that you checked in on me, because that's my way of knowing spirit is there saying, we're facilitating this. So Leanne might say something like, and so funny you're checking in on me, Uma. I've actually been going through a really rough time, and I was wanting to reach out to you to get a reading and, see what's going on. And then I would say to her, it's funny because I did sense like you're going through something, and I feel like, and I'm just going to say it. Okay. That's the way I work, because you have to respect people's free will. You have to respect the fact that if you're reading somebody without their permission, which I think like at this point now, only psychics and spiritual teachers should be doing, it should be coming from a good place. So spirit knows I'm here to help humanity. It's what I've been doing for the past 11 years. So they come to me and they give me messages about people. Most times it's not for me to share with them. It's just for me to know what's going on with that person so I can check in on them. Sometimes they will say, we need you to reach this person and tell them such and such as in when I knew someone very close to me, their father was going to pass. I wanted to prep them, and I reached out to them. I didn't say to them, your father's going to pass. I just said to them certain things to get them to understand that there was going to be a change in a situation. And they took me seriously and they started prepping. And within 3 days, that person passed. So there's like, again, you have to have training in how to do this kind of stuff. Okay. So that's number one. If someone comes to you and says they have a message for you, without your permission, you didn't give them permission to read you, that's an emotional read. Number two, if there's a time constraint on it, like the person is in a panic or things need to move fast, or you need to do this now, or spirit's telling me you need to do this now, that's an emotional read. There's no such thing as time. Number three, if any message comes to you that's dark, you're going to die. This person's going to die. We're all going to die. No, it's an emotional read. I hope this has been helpful for you guys. I wanted to share this because as we start to see a change in the world right now, all of a sudden now I'm seeing more people become psychic and sharing all their psychic prophecies on Facebook and whatnot. And it's cool, that people are having fun with it. But at the same time, leave the professional psychic work to people like me. And by the way, I'm not even the best psychic. Okay. I'm going to tell you that. I've been in classes with some amazing, like, geniuses, prodigies that are just like will blow your mind. Okay. So I'm not even like the best psychic, but I'm good enough for my community that I serve, because they know I have integrity, I have honesty, I do my work. And I will tell people, if people want a reading with me and I'm not in that space, I'll tell them I need to make you an appointment for next week or tomorrow or something, because I'm not in that space to give you your reading, because I have to be mentally, emotionally, spiritually ready, even if it's for 15 minutes. Because people will sometimes be like, well, I just need a 15-minute reading, Uma. Yeah, but I still have to bring the level that I bring to any reading, whether it's 5 minutes or 2 hours, I have to bring it. And if I'm not there, then I'm not going to do it, because I don't want to just read some cards to you. You can do that. You can pull your own cards and read the cards. You're looking for that intuitive connection that I have with spirit, right? That's why you come to me. So I'm sharing this message. Thanks, Tony. She's like, this is perfect. I'm sharing this message because, one, I am getting a little frustrated now that I'm seeing more and more, like psychics, channelers, mediums, God knows what, come out the woodworks, and they've not had any training, and they're just throwing around messages left, right, and center. It's bothering me. And if it's bothering me, then the only way I know to deal with it is to talk about it. I'm a Gemini moon. Can you tell? And and for the two ladies who probably are going to watch this at some point, if you get offended about this, sure. Okay. But if you feel like I'm trying to come for you or I'm trying to cut you down, no. Because if I was going to come right to you and cut you down right then and there. What I'm using is what you have given me as educational material that I'm going to be using for my community to share with them as a teacher, which is what I've been doing for the past 11 years. This is not right. And if you're watching this and you're feeling all sorts of embarrassment and stuff, don't come to me with it to tell me that you're embarrassed or you're sorry or forgive me or whatever. Just take it as a teachable moment. Just insert it, take it, sit on it, work through your emotions about it, and see the truth of what I'm telling you. What you're doing is wrong. Okay. You're causing unnecessary panic and mayhem in other people's lives. Thankfully, not mine, because I've been open to this for so long. The thing is when you have a public platform as large as I do, you get a ton of people coming out the woodwork advising you. Do you guys remember last year when I had the woman come out of the woodwork? God knows where she was at, telling me that I need to break up with Rob. He's not the spiritual partner for me, right? Guess what, guys? 5 years, still here. So we get lots of things like this all the time. So for those two ladies, if you see this and you are thinking we need to have a conversation about it, do yourself a favor. Don't have a conversation with me about it, because I will go full rage on this, because this is something that's been happening for years. And me as a spiritual teacher trying to cut this down so that we can really have some good psychic readings, intuitive hits, and some professional work. All right. Sorry, I went over. It's 26 minutes now, and I was really trying to keep this to 20. So I went over by 6 minutes. Any questions from you guys or anything that you guys want to add? But for everybody else that's watching this on recording, that's it. You guys are done. But for those of you that are live, do you have any questions or comments that I can address for you? And I do hope this is helpful. I really do, because I'm not coming from this mean place of just wanting to, start shit. I just really want people to know that I take the work that I do seriously. And I know a lot of other psychics and mediums and healers take their work seriously, and we want to be seen as those serious people. Okay. So that's why I'm sharing. All righty. So bye, guys. I don't know how to end things. So I'll just say bye. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.